We will look at different types of numbers. The most simple one are the natural numbers. And the natural numbers are 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Sometimes you don't include 0 among the natural numbers. Then we have the integers. And those are include the negative. Then we can talk about positive integers, that we mean 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And we can talk about negative integers, that we mean -1, -2, -3, and so on. Then we also have the rational numbers. And there are, for example, 2/3, or 6, 17. We can also write the minus sign in front. So you have -3/8. So they are all numbers that can be written as a fraction. They have a whole number up and down, or integer up and down. And we can also have a minus sign. So all rational numbers they have integer divided by integer, written as a fraction. Then we have the real numbers. There are all numbers that can be written as a decimal number. For example, 2 point. In Norway and Sweden you write the decimal number with the decimal sign, not the dot as internationally. So for example 2.31, that's a decimal number. Or we can write minus 0.332. So we can have an infinite sequence. Then we can write it more simply like this. Put a bar here, meaning that this will repeat itself. And then we can also have numbers like pi, for example. 1, 4, 1, 5, that have an infinite sequence that will never repeat itself. So all numbers can be written as decimal numbers. They are real numbers. And then we have the rational numbers are only a subset of the real numbers, because there are some real numbers that can't be written as a fraction of 2 integers. For example, pi. Pi can't be written as a fraction of 2 integers. Same with square root of 2 or square root of 3. And then many other, an infinite number of numbers that can't be written as a rational number. So we have this subset figure. In the middle here we have the integers. So all the integers are in the middle. And we can also write even more subset here, all the natural numbers. That is a subset of integers. And then we have the rational numbers. And they contain the integers, because all integers are rational numbers, and that's easy to see. For example, if you have 3, you can write it as a rational number, like this. So for all integers, you can just divide it by 1, then we make it a fraction, or rational number. So all integers are rational numbers. And then, outside that, we have the real numbers. The real numbers are all the numbers outside, but also including the rational numbers. So real numbers are all numbers we know. So they contain rational numbers. So all the rational numbers, for example these 3 here, they can of course be written as decimal numbers. So for example 2/3 can be written as 0.666 and so on. Or 0.6 with a bar. So all rational numbers can be written as a decimal number, meaning that all rational numbers are real numbers. So the real numbers contain the rational numbers. And all the numbers here on the outskirts, outside the rational numbers, they are called the irrational numbers. So pi, square root of 2, all those numbers that can't be written as a fraction of two integers, they're called irrational numbers. So for example, pi or square root of 2, all those numbers are here in the outskirts, outside the rational numbers. But the rational numbers together with the irrational numbers make up the real numbers. So these are all the different kinds of numbers we have. Then you should also make a note that these are different kinds of numbers. Then we also have the, like I talked about, the decimal numbers. And we have all numbers we can write as fractions. But these are not different types of numbers, just different ways of writing numbers. So this is just two different ways of expressing numbers. They're not the type. For example, here a rational number, we can write it as a fraction of two integers, but we can also write it as a decimal number. So these are just different ways of writing things. So 2 first can be written both as a decimal number and a fraction. But 2 first is a rational number. It's not an irrational number, for example. So that's all the different types of numbers we will look at. Then of course there are also more types of numbers. Maybe some have heard of complex numbers and even more complex or outside that. But we will limit ourselves here to real numbers.